Your OAuth provider doesn't support dynamic client registration, but you still need to authenticate users with Auth 0, Google, or Azure. We'll set up FastMCP's OIDC Proxy to handle the OAuth flow for you. No manual token management or complex callbacks. You'll see how to configure the provider, secure your credentials, and get a fully authenticated server running in just a few lines. From FastMCP server Auth providers Auth 0 import, Auth 0 provider. Auth equals Auth 0 provider. Config URL equals https:// well-known /OpenID configuration. Client ID equals your Auth 0 client ID. Client secret equals your Auth 0 client secret. Audience equals https:// base URL equals https://localhost 8000. MCP equals FastMCP. Name equals my server. Auth equals Auth. This implements the OAuth proxy pattern, acting as an intermediary between your FastMCP server and external OIDC providers. The proxy handles authentication delegation, letting you integrate with providers like Auth 0 or Google without implementing the full OAuth flow yourself. What distinguishes this approach is its ability to bridge non-DCR providers with FastMCP's dynamic client registration system through a standardized interface. The pattern works by abstracting provider-specific details behind a consistent configuration layer. Your server delegates authentication to the proxy, which manages token exchange, user validation, and session handling with the upstream provider. This separation of concerns means your application code interacts only with FastMCP's native auth system, while the proxy handles all OIDC protocol complexity, including token verification and scope management. This approach solves the common problem of provider lock-in and protocol complexity. Instead of writing custom OAuth handlers for each provider, you configure a single proxy that normalizes their behavior. It's particularly valuable when working with legacy providers that lack dynamic registration support, or when you need to maintain consistent auth behavior across multiple services. The trade-off is a slight increase in initial setup complexity, but this pays off in reduced maintenance as your auth requirements evolve. Let's break it down line by line. From FastMCP server Auth providers Auth 0 import, Auth 0 provider. Imports the Auth 0 authentication provider from FastMCP's Auth module. This handles Auth 2 OIDC integration, enabling secure user authentication through Auth 0's identity platform. Auth equals Auth 0 provider. Instantiates the Auth 0 authentication provider. This handles Auth 2 OIDC flows for secure API access, replacing manual token validation with standardized identity management. Config URL equals https:// well-known /OpenID configuration. This is the OpenID Connect discovery endpoint URL. It provides all OAuth 2 configuration details like authorization endpoints and supported flows, eliminating manual configuration. Auth 0 and other providers standardize this at the well-known path. Client ID equals your Auth 0 client ID. This is your Auth 0 application's unique identifier. It authenticates your server with Auth 0's authorization service, ensuring only your registered application can request tokens. Without this, the OAuth flow fails with invalid client errors. Client secret equals your Auth 0 client secret. This is the Auth 0 client secret, a confidential key that authenticates your application with Auth 0's authorization server. It ensures only your registered application can request tokens, preventing unauthorized access to protected resources. Never commit this to version control. Use environment variables or secret management in production.
Audience equals https://
The audience parameter specifies the Auth0 API identifier this client is authorized to access. It validates tokens against the intended resource server, preventing unauthorized API calls by ensuring the token's OAuth claim matches this value. Required for proper JWT validation in Auth0's OAuth2 flow.
Base URL equals https://localhost 8000.
This sets the base URL for OAuth2 redirects and cookie handling. Required for Auth0 to correctly return users to your local dev server after authentication. Without this, the Auth flow breaks with redirect mismatches. This closing parenthesis terminates the FastMCP server initialization, finalizing the configuration with the Auth0 provider we just set up. Without it, the server instance would remain incomplete, preventing any tool registration or request handling. This is the standard Python pattern for instantiating objects with required dependencies.
MCP equals FastMCP. Name equals my server. Auth equals auth.
This instantiates the FastMCP server with authentication enabled. The name parameter identifies this server instance in logs and metrics, while Auth injects the Auth0 provider we configured earlier for secure endpoint access. This is the central entry point where all tool registration and request handling will occur. Auth0 integration pattern. The Auth0 provider encapsulates OAuth2 OIDC complexity into 5 configuration parameters, transforming enterprise-grade authentication into a single-line FastMCP initialization. The base URL must exactly match your Auth0 application's allowed callback URLs, including the protocol and port. This pattern eliminates hundreds of lines of boilerplate while maintaining full OAuth2 compliance.
The server that forgets its authentication becomes universally accessible.